The F1 budget cap has been a pretty contentious point since its inception, with Red Bull and Aston Martin in breach of the budget cap back in 2021. According to reports, there is not just one team in trouble here, but three, and it's not just that, it's three big teams, with Stefano Domencialli calling for heavier punishment for a team that breaches the budget cap. Could we be seeing points being docked for a breach of the cap? It also looks like two teams have found secret ways of hiding the costs. Do you want to know what the FIA has to say about all of this? And how are the teams hiding costs from the FIA? It's brilliantly clever. Also, stick around to the end, as it looks like there could be some changes in store for 2026. Now, where there's smoke, there's usually an Alpine, and also a fire. In this instance, there could be rather large flames, as rumors have been circulating recently that three teams in Formula 1 may have exceeded their 2022 budget cap. According to reports, 7 teams have already agreed with the FIA on their annual reports, but if you do the simple maths, this means that there are still 3 teams yet to have their accounts decided upon and will need to provide further evidence. In the British media, Aston Martin, Alpine and Mercedes were mentioned as possible violators of the budget cap last season. On Sunday, Francis L'Equipe claims that they are in the danger zone, but the third team would be Red Bull and not the French Alpine. Hey, I mean, if you've done it all before and you've ended up being the dominant team, then why not just do it again, as it looks like the punishment just doesn't fit the crime. Now, before you start mashing away at your keyboard like a Street Fighter combo, we're just trying to get you to bite. According to Christian Horner, in fact, the team was far below the budget cap. Last year, Max damaged one front wing and Checo had a crash in Montreal. And again, we had a very limited amount of development on the car, so we were several million below the cap last year. And because accident damage and development, they're huge costs. Obviously, this year, the biggest handicap we've had is a lack of wind tunnel time. It's significantly less runs in a week than any of our competitors, so we've had to be very disciplined on where we focus our development, Horner told Sky F1. Whether you or I think that the punishment fits the crime, it's not really up to us to decide, and both George and Hamilton don't really agree that the punishment was severe enough. Hamilton added, "We have people in place who were supposed to police that, but it doesn't surprise me because it was not a big penalty before." His teammate George Russell also wasn't impressed, saying, "There were breaches last year and clearly the punishment didn't fit the crime. We don't want to be seeing that happen again, and if it's a second-time offender, the punishment should be even greater than what perhaps seems to be a fair punishment." I mean, this does all sound like sour grapes from Mercedes, but after Red Bull's domination of this season so far, can you really blame them? It's not a good look for the sport that the team that breached the cap is now the most dominant team, not only this season, but at this rate, they could be the most dominant team in history. I guess the budget cap just doesn't take into account the Adrian Newey factor. However, according to Horner, the team will begin to feel the pinch real soon. Believe me, the hit that we've taken with the lack of wind tunnel time that we have compared to our competitors is a massive compromise. It's always easy to throw shade when you're not performing. It's one of the things in Formula 1 that will always continue to happen, said Horner. I think it's also worth noting that Red Bull were only in a minor breach of the budget cap and didn't smash it by 50 million. L'Equipe states that Aston Martin are in more trouble than Mercedes and Red Bull, though why this is hasn't been explained yet. Furthermore, they write that F1 teams have asked for clarification on the exact qualification within Helmut Marko's situation at Red Bull. Marko attends all races in the Red Bull pit box, yet he is not among the top 3 managers whose salaries are excluded from the 136 million. Now, Marko has technically not been in charge of Red Bull's junior program. This has been left in the capable hands of Guillaume Rochlein. But I mean, come on. I think we all know that the Austrian has a much more significant role at Red Bull than just standing on the sidelines. I mean, just ask Nick de Vries. Despite still holding a significant position within the Milton Keynes-based team, Marko is not among the 3 highest paid employees. His possibly generous salary would thus be included in the $136 million. Of course, it could be that Red Bull has an excellent explanation for this, but at least some competitors have inquired with the FIA about exactly how this works. This is not the only way that teams are hiding costs from the FIA, but there are multiple ways according to reports. The easiest way for teams to avoid the cost cap is to split the core businesses into many different legally independent companies, which then build boats, bicycles, or radical supercars for the road. In this way, many engineers engineers who would otherwise migrate to other teams or industries can be parked for better promotion opportunities or more lucrative pay. This means that they can sneakily have engineers working on F1 projects 100% but only attribute 20% of their time to the F1 project, significantly reducing costs. I mean, just at the beginning of the year, James Allison was in the sailing division for Mercedes. Now that's just a little suspicious, wouldn't you agree, Captain James? There are also rumors of the teams outsourcing projects to companies within the same group and then charging the F1 teams a cost price rather than putting a markup on it. Essentially, that company falls outside of the cost cap and can either run at a loss to bring the best product to the team or sell to outside parties to get the cash flow up. TD045 was brought in to stop, or at least stop this in excess. I mean, it's all pretty clever, but that's not even the best bit. The next part is pretty clever and just shows you how companies get around certain key areas. This new trick is that the teams are hiding costs in their supercar programs, and not only Red Bull and Aston Martin can do this. Red Bull is developing an extreme sports car for petrolheads. The RB17 is a Formula 1 car with faired wheels. 50 units of this supercar will be built at a price of €5 million until 2025. The Aston Martin Valkyrie falls into this same category. Both cars could be mechanically and aerodynamically developed with components that would be relevant for Formula 1 and thus save money and time. When the cars are driving, you could also collect route data. The thing that's scariest of all is that there's no way of tracking this, and teams don't even have to hide anything from the FIA. They can just say that the supercar floor is from the F1 car and not that they have tested the F1 floor on the car. Both teams will claim that the information only goes one way and that it only goes from F1 to supercar and not the other way round. But how on earth do you govern that? It's almost impossible. They wouldn't even leave a trace. I guess the teams will just have to trust the process, and according to the FIA, the whole process is still ongoing and no one's in breach of the budget cap yet. Because yeah, it's totally unheard of for multi-million-dollar corporations to be hiding where they funnel their money. An FIA spokesperson said during the F1 Hungarian Grand Prix, "In light of recent reporting, we'd like to reiterate that the ongoing process preceding final regulation certification for the teams, none of which has been informed of their certification status. The auditing fieldwork is still ongoing and is scheduled to conclude in the upcoming weeks, after which there will be a period required for the finalization of the review. There is not, and has never been, a specific deadline for certification, and any suggestion of delays to this process or potential breaches are completely unfounded. The Cost Cap Administration will formally communicate its findings according to the procedure set out in the financial regulations. The timeframe is intentionally not fixed in order to not prejudice the robustness and the effectiveness of the review." Crucially, this doesn't mean that no teams have broken the budget cap, and I'm sure we will all have to wait around to find out precisely what comes out of these rumors. But for now, it's really all just rumors. Now, the other rumor circling around is about Alpine, with Automotor und Sport claiming that the comparative measurements have shown that Renault, owner and engine supplier of the Alpine team, is at least 30 horsepower behind Honda, Mercedes, and Ferrari. Naturally, Renault would like to have this discussed, and if necessary, get some leeway in the engine performance freeze to catch up. Christian Horner, whose Red Bull team struggled for years with underpowered Renault engines, thinks Formula 1 should be receptive to the idea. If there's a clear deficit under homologation, it's something we should be sensible about, he said at the Hungaroring. Otherwise, they're locked in for 2 more years. Alpine boss Otmar Szafnauer welcomed Horner's support, but said there is an agreement that if a manufacturer falls 1% behind in real terms, good faith discussions about the freeze will occur. Those talks will begin at the next F1 Commission meeting, where the budget cap is also sure to be on the agenda.